Hey Vance, welcome.
I appreciate it, Michael. Thanks so much.
Yeah, let's dive in. So I'd love to kind of hit the rewind button a little bit and have you share with us why you started your consulting business, how you started the business. I know you spent, years with Disney, but give us a little bit of the backstory of how did you get to kind of where you are today, or where did the beginning come from?
Sure. Wow, that's right. Actually, smack in the middle of everything. Um, Going back to my corporate days, I found I made a lousy employee, as I just didn't like to be told what to do. So I started my own businesses here in Maryland. I actually have three home service businesses, and I took all of my Disney knowledge, customer experience, and retention and marketing, and I packed it into those businesses with systems and processes and was able to position the company as a premium service targeting a affluent market, which means I didn't have to do as many jobs as everybody else was doing because I was charging more.
And so what were those, what were or are those businesses? When you talk about the three different home service businesses.
So one is a mold remediation company, one is a Oriental rug washing facility, and the other is a traditional carpet cleaning company. So very boring, benign, highly commoditized businesses.
And do you have experience or expertise in Oriental, rug cleaning, like and mold removal? Is this stuff that you know, or you essentially found opportunities and implemented your knowledge?
No, I had never vacuumed before, essentially. But I found a hole in the marketplace. Actually, the carpet cleaning came first, and then the rugs, and then the mold was added on last. But there was a huge hole in the premium service for this kind of business. And I look at it from a Disney perspective in that, Disney is the premium level of the entertainment, family vacation, etc. Not like your local county fair. So because the local county fair version of the carpet cleaning is, the guy who tacks up his sign on a telephone pole and it's, 19 rooms for $4 or something silly like that. Um, but so going back to it, I had people started asking me, you don't look like you're working too hard. How are you doing this? Because I had a couple of employees by then and things like that. And so, I started just kind of explaining how I was doing it, what I was doing. And I finally decided, well, I don't want to do this for free anymore. So I started, just doing some one-on-one coaching. Usually, well, this is way before Zoom even existed, so it was telecoaching on telephone. Um, and then I was at a mastermind meeting, and a one of the members there we were just going around the table asking, telling everybody what we did and who we were, and mentioned that I had worked for Disney and had a some marketing background and everything. And he says to me in front of the whole group, "I would pay you to take me and my group around Disney." I'm like, "Wow, okay." So a whole nother line of business opened up for me. So it's now fully close to 50% of my business is taking business groups, business owners to Disney for 3 and 4 day full immersion boot camps in learning essentially how Disney makes the sausage. So my job, as I see it, is translating as we go through the parks or as we do some classroom stuff, translating what Disney is doing into whatever their niche or profession is. So into an orthodontist or into a home inspector, things like that. So between the coaching and one-on-one consulting and the Disney events, that's kind of where we are today.
So your focus, if we were just to kind of summarize it, do you position that as focusing on retention, or how do you kind of describe what you do uh, between the one-on-ones and the Disney extravaganza experience?
Yeah, sure. When the extravaganza is really kind of a kickoff point where I get a lot of my clients, because they're, at the end of it, they're like, "Oh crap, what do I do now?" So, I can take them by the hand and lead them. But the customer experience, if you look at the entire customer journey, which is something that we map out, really the experience is setting the stage for the retention. Because if they have a lousy experience, I mean, there's no amount of retention effort that's going to be done that's going to be able to help keep them. So we want to make sure that the experience that they're having, either consuming your product or consuming your service, is extraordinary in a positive way, and that the retention system that you have is immediate and actually even begins slightly before they're done consuming your product or your service. Um, so to me, they go hand in hand. There's really very difficult to separate the two.
How many businesses, or put another way, what percentage of the businesses that you speak to or first come in contact with, would you say have an actual system for retention? Like that they've actually thought about it thoughtfully and have structure in place for retention?
I would say a percentage that have thought about it, probably about 10%. A percentage that have actually applied money and budget to it, zero. It's just, it's not sexy. I mean, it's not, everybody, you see all the Flakebook ads of, we'll get you 10,000 leads for $40. And, I mean, it's just not a sexy topic, but it's where all the money is. I mean, customer acquisition is ridiculously expensive. Getting a new customer is not cheap.
Yeah, it's only become more expensive over time, right?
Tremendously. But keeping a customer, a real quick example for my carpet cleaning business, for the month of May, so from my last reports for May, cost me $126 to get a new customer in the front door. It cost me $22 a year to keep a customer through mailings and email and newsletters and things like that. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer.
There are consultants out there landing dream clients, charging premium fees, and building the kind of business and life that you want. And here's the thing, they're not smarter or more talented than you. They've just got the right strategy. If you're tired of guessing your way through the next steps, wondering if you should raise your fees, change your marketing strategy, or find better clients, it's time to stop spinning your wheels. At Consulting Success, we've helped thousands of consultants just like you cut through the noise, get crystal clear on their goals, and build businesses that thrive. And the best part, it all starts with the free Consulting Success growth session. This is your chance to get personalized guidance on how to break through your challenges and build the business you deserve. No fluff, no gimmicks, just real strategies that work. So why not you? Why not today? Go to consultingsuccess.com/grow and book your free session now. Let's take the guesswork out of growing your consulting business. Again, visit consultingsuccess.com/grow today. And I know that for some people, when they hear those numbers, that might even sound on both very low, right? Because in the world of consulting, or when you're dealing with larger organizations, the sales cycles, the time required, can be significantly greater, and therefore, your expense might be significantly greater. So those numbers even add up more. I want to dive into several areas here, because you started off talking about, these three businesses that you have, which some people, when they first heard that, may have been like, am I in the right podcast? I thought this was the Consulting Success podcast. We're talking about, Oriental rugs and mold. But so now you've shared that what came next was people were asking you how you build these businesses. They're running successfully. And that led to the whole retention focus. And so that's this other work that you do, and you do that through one-to-one consulting, as well as kind of these group experiences where you take people through to Disney. When you talked about your three businesses though, Vance, you said that you have positioned them to be premium. And I'd love to first get you kind of to define, does premium simply mean in your mind, or the way that you look at it, that you charge more than the alternatives in the marketplace? Or do you view premium in any way differently, just so we can kind of set that stage and then we'll build on top of it?
Certainly. Well, certainly, yes, premium does mean higher price, no doubt. But I can't just charge a higher price and not have something to support that price. So some of the additional things that we do are intangible. So just like when you go to Best Buy and they offer you the 3-year warranty on your new TV, Best Buy is essentially selling you air for $79. Um, we do the same thing. We sell you a warranty and a guarantee. Um, some of the things that we do are experiential. How we enter your home and the theater that we use in entering your home. The theater when we prepare your sofa for cleaning and what we do. I mean, how we move the furniture that's around it, how we protect the furniture that's around it. I mean, it's a full on production, and we make sure that the customer is watching what it is that we're doing. I mean, because that's what Disney is. It's a production. It's theater. And if you can, either yourself or your employees, if you can understand that you are on stage in your own production because you know that your customers are watching you, you're going to behave a lot differently. And I mean, it's just like going to see Hamilton and the lead character having a rotten night and does a lousy performance. I mean, you're going to be ticked, right? You're going to want your money back. Well, it's the same with us in any business. We can't afford to have a rotten night because, well, our customers will be ticked. So it's like performing a role in a show every single day.
Vance, how would you apply that to consulting? So, I mean, obviously, home services is still a service-based business, but let's say somebody is working with an organization. They're not generally going to be lifting furniture, or so. How might you apply it to somebody who's working with an organization, whether it's just virtual or in person at their factory floor or in the boardroom?
Sure. Well, I think, looking at all of the different facets that a consultant would use, I think a lot of times our clients have to wait for things. Wait for a proposal, wait for a report, wait for a something. At Disney, you wait a lot as well. I mean, a lot. So, but Disney has come up with something called line entertainment, where they entertain you while you're in line. So I do the same thing. I entertain you while you're waiting for the next thing. So if you are waiting for, like if I'm doing your entire customer journey and we're busy prioritizing what areas we're going to focus on, and that takes some time. Okay, well, that takes, usually takes me a couple of weeks. So in between then, I will have sent them a postcard, and they will get a small package from me. I have it set up with a gifting company where they'll get a package for things like candied pecans or something. But it's a reminder that I haven't disappeared. I'm not thinking about you. It's a little bit off the wall. It's not an email saying, "Oh, by the way, yes, I'm still working on your project. Don't worry about it." That's not personal. That's not personable, and it's not memorable. 'Cause don't forget, I mean, when we're doing all this stuff, we want to be memorable, and we also want to be tellable because that begins the word of mouth process. So all this ties in to not only retention but also word of mouth, because that kind of marketing and advertising, not only is it ridiculously inexpensive, it's incredibly effective.
Let me ask you, what you're describing right now. It actually reminds me of a previous company that we had in a different industry. We used to send boxes. They're called survival kits, and it was from a local uh, chocolate company. And you'd open up this box, and there was many different types of chocolates and chocolate bars. And the concept and the belief that we had was this was sending to different offices. They were the buyers, often in HR or some department like that, marketing. But we thought, no one's going to take this box, open up in the office, and eat everything themselves. Like, hopefully not. They're going to open and people around them are like, what's that? Where'd you get that? And so we found that in that business, it really spread to a lot of word of mouth. So I can see how what you're talking about, starts to come in. I think the hesitation a lot of people have when they hear this sort of thing is, well, but that costs money, right? It costs $50, $100. In the world of consulting, I mean, these are small numbers compared to a typical engagement. And I think we can talk more as well about the value or what lifetime value is. And if people understand lifetime value, you can then feel much more confident to invest because you know the value of a client, right? So you know what you can and cannot or should not spend. But for somebody who maybe is listening going, yeah, but that costs me more money to do this. Like my business maybe isn't as big as I'd like yet, or I'm not making as much money as I'd like yet, or my margins aren't as solid as I want. Does spending more money like this, is it really going to help? How would you kind of respond to them and think about that?
Everything that I teach, especially on these topics, I do it in iterations. So, for example, I've written a number of books, and if you order my book from Amazon, it's going to come in a brown box. If you order my book from me, when we fulfill it, it comes in this grand package. Now, so when I first started shipping it, it came in a brown box. And I said, well, I'm the experienced guy. I should probably jazz this up a little bit. So I created a custom box. And, a few months later, I'm like, well, it's kind of a workbook. I should probably include a pen. All right. So great. So now I got a logo pen in there. And then I'm like, oh, it's a book. I should probably have a bookmark. Right. So I put the bookmark in there. Oh, I'm already sending all this stuff. Oh, they bought this book. I should probably put a thank you letter in there. Right. So now there's a thank you letter in there. And I'm sending them all this crap. I should probably put a sales letter in there. So now there's a sales letter in there. That all took 18 months. So it was iteration, 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 iteration. So you don't have to like have it perfect the first time out the door. Start with something small. I mean, go to your local BJ's or Costco or Sam's Club or whatever, wholesaler, get yourself a case of cookies and make your own little gift basket if that's what you have to do. I mean, when I was first starting out, I used my kids as slave labor. I mean, they licked envelopes, they made the baskets, at Christmas time, we delivered stockings to my clients. My kids made them.
I'll be the devil's advocate for a moment. Do you truly believe, and have you actually, I should say, seen that sending people cookies or sending, whatever, a book, a pen, does that truly influence somebody's decision to stay with you or use your services for a longer period of time?
Well, those items, anecdotally, I would say yes. Measurably, not sure. However, I have a very robust retention system that I use, and we certainly talk about that whenever you're ready. But those are all things that set you up for retention, because it's not like, okay, the deal's over, the deal's done, you've completed the assignment, and now you send them a little bag of cookies as a thank you. And that's kind of boring and cheesy. But if you're doing little things along the way, how you present, documents, is it coming in a little manila folder, or is this like a high-end thing and it should be in a leather bound portfolio? Again, and all this is built into your pricing. So it really, it's all an investment, because you're showing the client exactly how much you believe in them, how much you value the relationship by what you're giving them. I mean, if you have logoed pens, are they, the, $10 for 1,000, the cheapy ones, or, did you get logoed cross pens? I mean, what is your brand about?
Let's talk numbers for a moment, then we'll dive deeper into some of this. What have you seen in terms of, business impact? If somebody puts in, a solid retention system and, kind of program into their business, what can that look like? Can you share some examples of what you've experienced in your own businesses or even with people that you've worked with?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. So, I've worked with a couple of companies where they've literally doubled their retention. So, worked one financial planning client who, when somebody dies, they call it the money goes hot, and which means the money is going to leave and go to another advisor, broker, etc. So the plan is that he meets not only with the individual, but also with the wife and also with the children. And he has a system of mailings and books that he sends. And he has events for the families, etc. Industry average on money going hot is 70 to 80% people are leaving that advisor. His turnover rate is under 30%. So, I mean, and for advisors, that's millions of dollars under management that are leaving them every year. Now, there are some that you can't fix, but I mean, to cut more than half from the industry average, and that's just one example. For I worked with a group of dentists, and they also, you're lucky if you get the reminder, hey, it's been 6 months, time for your cleaning kind of thing. Um, you know, our we've convinced this practice to become pediatric dentists. We niched them down quite a bit, and so they had now had freedom to really have fun with their marketing because they now had two audiences. They had the parents and they had the kids. So they were sending the kids. We marketed her as, her favorite movie was Peter Pan. And she was marketing herself as the pirate dentist. She dressed as Captain Hook. They walked around the office saying "arg" all the time. But once she did that and she was able to put pieces in place in her retention system, I mean, people didn't leave unless they moved or they turned 18, which was when she stopped seeing them anyway. So I mean, she's got a wait list that's 10 miles long. I mean, her retention is as close to 100% as you could possibly get.
How important, I mean, you just talked about niching down or niching down. How important is that to premium pricing or to achieving premium pricing and to also increasing retention? Is that a requirement that you really need to kind of niche down in your experience, or is that just kind of case by case?
No, I think it is. I mean, the old saying, "There's riches and niches." And there is a lot of truth in that. I mean, my dentist, is a great example that she was a general dentist. And I'll give you the quick story. She took insurance. So she was one of 8 other dentists in her building, not even just in her town, but in her building. And she was a commodity, I mean, how many ways to clean teeth? And so we were working with her and we had to make a change. And so she said, yes, I love working with kids. And I said, the other end is like, well, if you really want to make money, you got to go private pay. You got to go concierge or stop taking insurance. So we did that. So we created this whole pirate persona. She put a shipwreck playground in her waiting room. I mean, really went just for the kids. And I mean, when was the last time you ever said, I can't wait to go back to the dentist? So, and kids are saying this. So the financial one, she increased her prices significantly. I think she was like, she went up like 35 or 40%, but she stopped taking insurance, which eliminated 2.5 staff positions because she had 2.5 people. All they did was insurance billing. And right there, that was like $170,000 straight to her bottom line by eliminating those 2 positions. And so not only did she have that, but now she has the word of mouth. Now she has, people that are the lines of people, waiting list of people to come in, all because she niched down to just being a pediatric dentist. So, I mean, she's like my poster child. She really is. She's
Hey, Vance, I want to have you share a bit more about what your kind of retention, system looks like. I think it's called the loyalty profit engine, if I'm not mistaken. But before we do that, just take us back again to the kind of founding or initial building of this consulting coaching business that you have around retention. You mentioned people just, that you had met through different mastermind groups or whatever it was. and that became the first client. You're taking people to Disney. How did you grow it beyond that? Has it just been word of mouth and you meeting people at events, or have you done something else to acquire clients?
Sure. A lot of it was for the Disney events. It was that was definitely word of mouth. People would come back. They're like, "Oh my God, this is a great event," and somebody would say, "Hey, I'm looking for a boutique event for my group." Okay, great. You got to call Vance. That kind of thing. I did a number of events on my own or of my own, and that would get people into my group coaching, which then they could ascend to my mastermind. Um, and I did not do online ads at all. That just kind of stuff just drives. I'm not on Facebook, so I'm not going to advertise there if I'm not there. So I write a prolific writer, and so
And where do you publish? When you talk about writing, is this on your own website, or you just kind of guest publications? Or
yeah, so LinkedIn newsletter, Substack newsletter, my own list gets an article from me at least 2, if not 3 times a week. And then I publish a print newsletter. It's a 24-page print newsletter that everybody
how often is that? The print newsletter?
monthly.
Monthly. Is that a paid newsletter? People pay to get it?
Yeah, that's a paid newsletter. I also have a abbreviated version of that is a lead gen newsletter that if I've identified somebody who I really want to do business with, they'll get on that list, and usually for about 24 months they'll get that newsletter. And if they don't buy in 24 months, I'll take them off. And usually I'll hear somebody scream, "Hey, why I didn't get my newsletter?" I'm like, "Well, you haven't bought anything." So
Right. Got you. Okay. Um, that's helpful to understand. So let's come back then to your retention system, because the vast majority, if not all, consultants want long-term clients, or they at least want to create more value, deliver more value. I mean, they're getting into this business, or they're still in this business because they really want to make an impact, right? They want to do great work, and of course, they want to be well compensated for that. So it can be even a high level, because I know in terms of time, we can't get into all the nitty gritty, but what does that process look like? What should somebody who's joining us right now thinking, yes, I haven't really done anything to formalize my retention, or we have just some little efforts here and there. What does kind of a best in class retention system look like? Or what are the key considerations people should have to kind of embark on this?
yeah, well, first and foremost is the mindset of it's not your customer's job to remember you. It's your job to remind the customer that you exist. And that I mean, put that on a 3x5 card, staple it, well, not staple it, tape it to your monitor, because you got to get that through your brain. And if you don't embrace that, none of it's going to work. And then you have to be intentional about the system. It is a system. So in my calendar, I have all of the things that I need to do for my members or my clients are in the calendar saying, "Okay, Vance, it's time to send them this." So let's talk about a couple of this things. So one of them is I find now for my private clients, everybody has a box or a drawer. And as I go through Wall Street Journal or magazines or periodicals, I'll tear stuff out that I know is going to be appropriate for that person. And once a month, I'll put it in a FedEx and I send it out.
Basically, a drawer, is this like a physical drawer? Like,
Oh, and I can take the drawer out of my desk if you want to see.
no, I'm just wondering. So, like, how many drawers are there, and then what does this look like? And yeah, so it's
Yeah,
a
no,
physical drawer.
it's drawer.
Yeah.
Actually, I have one of those old map desks that they used to put maps in, and so it's got like 30 drawers. Anyway, then there's a section or 2 times a year I'll send a gift. Now, the gift to me needs to be meaningful, and it needs to remind people of me. So that it's like me in their room staring at them all the time. So one year real quick. So I only have one saying, and it's you won't profit unless you implement. So I sent a canvas of those saying you won't profit unless you implement. Got my name on the bottom. So they hang this in their office, and Vance is in 72 offices right now, hanging there, reminding them that I am there. Um, and so those are the kinds of things that I like to do. I mean, it's not always Vance, but just reminding people that this is, I'm there. Um, and it's a nice gift, and it makes sense. And it's great when I get on a Zoom call and 20 of them have that in the background. Um, I think having a newsletter in print, not an e-newsletter, dear Lord. Having a print newsletter doesn't have to be big, but part of your program, 6 or 8 pages, doesn't even, maybe not even that long. And it doesn't even have to be formatted. I mean, just get on a Word document, type out some paragraphs, updates, things that have been happening with you. The newsletter is designed to create an emotional connection. So try not to talk about the latest, greatest widget or, piece of equipment or whatever. Don't talk about that stuff. Talk about stuff that's going on. Like I shamelessly use my children in my marketing. I have no problem with it. But when I see my mastermind members, they'll ask me, "Hey, how was Emma's ballet recital?" Now that's to me is more powerful than talking about, oh, hey, I got a great deal on pens from 4Imprint. You all should go buy your pens there. No, nobody's going to remember that. But, I said, I took the picture of my kid in the ballet tutu, and 5 months later, I've got people coming up to me saying, "How was your kid's recital?" That's an emotional connection. You create those, and they're not leaving you.
Vance, why do you, just for everyone, why print newsletter and not just, because you said yourself, I mean, you have the Substack, you have the LinkedIn newsletter, you have the emails. Why the print newsletter specifically?
Specifically, one, you can't delete it. It's just too easy. You see people, I mean, it just comes in. One, you don't even know if people are getting the darn thing. Did it get delivered? Is it in spam? Did it just get sent to a folder that will never have seen the light of day? Mailboxes are empty. And, I mean, right now you get some credit card applications and, maybe a catalog, but that's about it. It's tangible. You hold on to it. You can feel it. It's like a book, you know? And you have to make a decision with the newsletter is, do I read it or do I throw it away? So so now instead of just hitting delete, now you got to, oh, it's from Vance. Oh, it's from Michael. Oh yeah, he usually has something funny in there, or he's always got a valuable nugget in there that, is going to make my day. Yep. It goes in the read pile. So it's, everybody learns differently, but I've just found that tangible thing that you can hold in your hands is it's something. I don't know the psychology behind it, but it's that when you're holding on to something, you can smell it, you can feel it. And there's just another level of connection you have with that person.
Percentage of the overall retention system that, that you implement, your clients implement, or that you just have found to be most effective, what percentage of that is stuff that you send to people? Because a lot of what you've been talking about in terms of examples is related to sending something in the mail. So yeah, aside, I guess, what percentage, and then aside from that, are there other things that you do from a retention perspective, or that you think consultants should be thinking about?
Sure. It's about 2/3. 2/3. 1/3 electronic, 2/3 sending. Is it always a canvas print? No. I will, drives my wife nuts, but I send postcards from my vacations to everybody. But I have the postcards printed up and written out before we even go. And I just make sure I bring the stack with me so that I get the postmark from wherever it is that I'm vacationing. So that's one way. Some of the other things that you can do for your clients, I've got a reminder also to I give them what do you call it? Like a tech tip, or an app tip, something that I've come across that's going to make, their life a little easier. Again, it's not selling me. It's just, I've been thinking of you. Here's a Chrome extension that I think would make your life easier. People are like, oh, okay, Vance was thinking about me. Great, send it on. Um, it's just those touches, and you program this into your calendar. So, you can't put an appointment on top of it because, well, that's already on your calendar. So you got to have time to do it. And you program this out for the entire year. And whether you assign it to a VA or you do it yourself, as long as it's on your calendar and you are honest with yourself about keeping your appointments with yourself, it works.
And you talked with that financial planning company that there were some things that they did. It sounds like I'm sure part of it was related to mailings, as we're talking about now. But are there other things that they did or others have done in that type of professional services area that are more about, let's say, certain calls with clients or meetings with clients? Anything in that kind of department that people should maybe be thinking about as well?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I worked with an attorney group in California, and we were looking at they're probate attorneys, and they really wanted to jazz up their their welcome or their onboarding. So they decided that they were going to kind of be like the Starbucks of attorneys. So everybody learned how to make coffee drinks. Everyone, I mean, attorney, paralegal, didn't matter. You learned how to make coffee drinks, and you were led in, customer, client, led into this boardroom that looked like it was the set of the Friends coffee set. You were given a leather bound menu, that listed all of the coffee drinks that they had. And even if they didn't have it on there, they could probably make it. And that was the setting. That's the initial onboarding is, oh my God, I can get a Frappuccino with double shot of potato juice and, all that stuff. It made a huge impression. And especially if the attorney's going to make it, oh my God. Um, so if you have a physical office, there's so much you can do, as opposed to if you're virtual or if you have to work at client's place.
Yeah, and I want to encourage everybody who's joining us to uh, take in these examples and recognize that you're likely not an attorney, or maybe you're not a financial services firm, and you're almost certainly not a mold restoration company. But there's ideas in here, and so the challenge for everyone is to think about how does this apply to your specific business, and what kernels can you take from this uh, to apply. Another question I have for you here, Vance, I know we're getting on time, and I want to be respectful of that, but you have 4 businesses, from my understanding. I'm also guessing that you're not involved in all 4 of those day to day. Just talk us through what that looks like. I mean, what does your team look like in the consulting coaching business? What does your team look like, in the others? Let's just start with that, and I have a follow on to that.
So on the home services side, as I mentioned, I over the years built systems and processes, because they give you freedom. And so about 8 years ago, I was able to step out of those businesses and put in a general manager. And I told him, all you just run the system. Don't do anything else. Don't screw with anything. Just manage the systems. Everything will be fine. So today I'll spend 90 minutes a week on those businesses, cashing checks, kissing babies, and meeting with the general manager.
So interrupt. Is the general manager, is that person responsible for all 3 businesses, or is it?
Yes. Yep. He runs all 3 businesses. And when he has ideas on things that, improvements and things like that, he waits for the Friday. We meet every Friday morning, 8:30. He knows to wait till then, and we'll talk through the idea. If we think it's a great one, great, knock your socks off. Think it's an okay one, I'm like, all right, go ahead and try it anyway. And that's how we continue to move that business forward.
What did it take for you to become comfortable with somebody else running not just 1, but 3 different businesses? There's, you could say a level.
I'm not.
What's that?
I'm not. I'm not.
You're not comfortable.
I'm not comfortable with it. Oh God, no, it's my baby.
But you're comfortable enough to step away and only have a touch point once a week.
Yeah, I am, but it's still, you're never 100% like it's out of your mind. It took probably a good solid year and a half. That was really the transition because it was, what toes am I stepping on? What toes is he stepping on? We really had to work out. I mean, he had already worked for me for 8 years. I mean, he's a long-term employee. Um, and he, so we just had to figure out what what we were doing. He was really trying to figure out, okay, what am I allowed to do? And I'm like, dude, you're it. The buck stops with you. You got to spend $500 to fix something. Spend $500 to fix something.
So for that, I mean, is it a matter of just essentially building? So you have your systems that run the business. So I'm imagining, each business has a system for marketing or for sales or for delivery, retention, right? Just different systems, hiring, whatever, all that. And then within that, there's probably some additional kind of rules or guidelines when it comes to how much you can spend without having to ask me about something, or if this type of problem comes up, here's how you handle it. So you have all of that documented, and then before you kind of pass the baton, you're talking with this person, going over all those things, seeing if there's anything else that you haven't yet addressed, and kind of playing through situation analysis and right, making some decisions. Is there anything beyond that you did that you feel was instrumental for you to make that transition so that you're not having to be involved in the day to day?
I think my 2 weeks in Costa Rica, where I had no contact with him whatsoever. I mean, he cut the umbilical cord. He had no contact with me. He had to, whatever the problem was, he had to figure it out on his own. And it was probably equally as hard on him as it was on me, because I'm just like, oh my God, what's happening?
Right. That makes sense. All right. Well, I want to thank you, Vance, so much for coming on here. I know we've just kind of started to scratch the surface on everything that you're working on. For those that want to learn more about you, I know you're creating a lot of content. Where should they go? Where's kind of one link or URL that we can put here for people?
Yeah. The best place would be my main website, which is deliverservicenow.com. A whole bunch of little free downloads and things like that there. Or you can certainly connect with me on LinkedIn. I think I'm the only Vance Morris there.
All right. We will link that up in the show notes. Vance, thanks again so much for coming on.
I appreciate it, Michael. Thank you for having me.